few more pages. Last 2 weeks. We've got this. Fain would I pause to dwell upon the world of charms that burst upon the enraptured gaze of my hero as he entered the state parlor of Von Tassel's mansion, not those of the bevy of buxom lashes with their luxurious displays of red and white, but the ample charms of a genuine Dutch country tea-table in the sumptuous time of autumn, such heaped-up platters of cakes of various and almost indescribable kinds, known only to experienced Dutch housewives. There was the doughy doughnut, the tender oldie koek, and the crisp and crumbling cruller, sweet cakes and shortcakes, ginger cakes and honey cakes, and the whole family of cakes. And then there were apple pies and peach pies and pumpkin pies, besides slices of ham and smoked beef, and moreover delectable dishes of preserved plums and peaches and pears and quinces, and not to mention broiled shad and roasted chickens, together with bowls of milk and cream, all mingled higgledy-piggledy, pretty much as I have enumerated them, with a motherly teapot sending up its clouds of vapour from the midst. Heaven bless the mark! I won't breathe in time to discuss this banquet as it deserves, and am too eager to get on with my story. Happily, Ichabod Crane was not so in great a hurry as his historian, but did ample justice to every dainty. He was a kind and thankful creature, whose heart dilated in proportion as his skin was filled with good cheer, and whose spirit rose with eating as some men's do with drink. He could not help, too, rolling his large eyes round him as he ate, and chuckling with the possibility that he might one day be lord of all the scene of almost unimaginable luxury and splendour. Then he thought how soon he'd turn his back upon the old schoolhouse, snap his fingers in the face of Hans von Ripper and every other unsightly patron, and kick out any itinerant pedagogue out of doors that should dare to call him comrade. Old Balthus Van Tassel moved about among his guests with a face dilated with content and good humour, round and jolly as the harvest moon. His hospitable attentions were brief but expressive, being confined to a shake of the hand, a slap on the shoulder, a loud laugh, and a pressing invitation to fall to and help themselves. And now the sound of the music from the common room or hall summoned to the dance. The musician was an old grey-headed man who had been the itinerant orchestra of the neighborhood for more than half a century. His instrument was as old and battered as himself. The greater part of the time he scraped on 2 or 3 strings, accompanying every movement of the bow with a motion of the head, bowing almost to the ground and stamping with his foot whenever a fresh couple were to start. Ichabod prided himself upon his dancing as much as upon his vocal powers. Not a limb, not a fibre about him was idle, and to have seen his loosely hung frame in full motion and clattering about the room, you would have thought St. Vitus himself, the blessed patron dance, was figuring before you in person. He was the admiration of all the peasants, I suppose, who, having gathered all his ages and sizes from the farm in the neighborhood, stood forming a pyramid of shining faces at every door and window, gazing with delight at the scene, rolling their white eyeballs and showing grinning rows of ivory from ear to ear. How could the flogger of urchins be otherwise than animated and joyous? The lady of his heart was his partner in the dance, and smiling graciously in reply to all his amorous oglings, while Brom, sorely smitten with love and jealousy, sat brooding by himself in one corner. When the dance was at an end, Ichabod was attracted to a knot of the sager folk, who with old Van Tassel sat smoking at one end of the piazza, gossiping over former times and drawing out long stories about the war. This neighborhood, at the time of which I am speaking, was one of those highly favored places which abound with chronicle and great men. The British and American line had run near it during the war. It had therefore been the scene of marauding and infested with refugees, cowboys, and all kinds of border chivalry. Just sufficient time had elapsed to enable each storyteller to dress up his tale with little becoming fiction, and in the indistinctness of his recollection, to make himself the hero of every exploit. They really don't. I really thought that the headless horseman would be more of a focus. Takes him like takes they don't even mention the dude till page 90. I'm at 74 right now. I wanted to see the ghost scare people. This is disappointing. I think I'm just not. Actually, I'm not gonna. I change my mind. I'm not finishing. I'm just gonna turn it in. That's disappointing. I wanted more ghost stories. It's not him doing whatever. Gosh. I missed it. Anyways, the party goes on and he goes out to the forest, walking home, and the ghost meets him, and then he runs away, and that's it. That's it. That's really, I don't know. Eh.